You weren't born second guessing yourself. You were taught slowly how to not trust what you feel. If you've ever sat there after eating and thought, why did I do that again? And then immediately started questioning yourself, this is why that keeps happening. Because you weren't born second guessing yourself. You were trained into it. Welcome back to the Nourished Life for Christian Women. Last week, we started looking at the idea that feeling of not enough, that it might not actually be the truth. Today, I want to take that one step deeper. And if you've ever felt like you should be able to figure this out by now, but somehow you keep ending up in the same cycle, this episode is going to connect some dots for you. Because if that belief isn't true, then where did it come from? And why does it feel so real? Here's something that most of us have never been told. You weren't born second guessing yourself. You were slowly taught to not trust what you feel. And once you start to see how that happens, you begin to understand why no amount of discipline has fixed it. Now, in this episode, I'm going to frame this mostly around food and body stuff, but you'll recognize that it can apply to any area of our life, really. Self-distrust doesn't always look obvious. It doesn't usually sound like, I don't trust myself. Sometimes it might, but mostly it doesn't. Mostly it sounds more like, should I eat this or not? I don't know what my body actually needs. I was doing so well. Why did I mess it up? Or this, you make a decision and then immediately start to question it. You eat something, and before you've even stood up from the table, your brain is already scanning. Was that too much? I shouldn't have had that. I was doing so well earlier. You feel something and then you talk yourself out of it. It's like you're constantly checking yourself instead of just being with yourself. It's subtle, but it's constant. And over time, it creates this underlying feeling of, I can't rely on myself to get it right. And here's the part that's really important to see. Self-distrust doesn't just appear. It gets built moment by moment. Something subtle is happening in those moments, and it's shaping how you relate to yourself. Every time you feel hunger and ignore it because it's not time yet. Every time you feel full, but keep eating because it's allowed. Every time you feel tired, but push through because you're supposed to. You're learning something. Now, I'm not talking about when we're tired and we're tending to a child that's sick or in the middle of the night. There's some reasons that we need to be pushing through when we're tired, but a lot of the time, we really don't. And we learn things by doing this. Not just about food, not just about our bodies, but about ourself. You're learning my signals aren't reliable. My needs aren't valid. I need something outside of me to tell me what's right. And over time, that becomes your default, not because it's true, but because it's practiced. What I'm about to share next, this is the part that people don't usually see, but it's the reason the pattern keeps repeating. This is the part that most people miss. It's not just the moment itself, it's what happens right after. You eat past fullness, and instead of getting curious, you go straight to, see, I can't trust myself. You don't follow a plan perfectly, and instead of adjusting, you think, "Ugh, I always mess this up." Because in that moment, you're not just reacting to what happened, you're deciding what it says about you. And most of the time, without even realizing it, you make it mean, I can't trust myself. I remember a woman I worked with who told me, it's not even the eating that bothers me anymore, it's how fast I turn on myself afterward. She said she could go from feeling completely fine to sitting there thinking, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just get this right? And what we started to see together was that moment right there, that was the pattern. Not the food, not the choice, but what she made it mean about herself. This is why more discipline hasn't worked, because discipline doesn't rebuild trust. Control doesn't rebuild trust. In fact, the more you try to control yourself, the more you reinforce the belief that you need control. And the cycle continues. Now, here also, I'm not talking out against self control. Obviously, we do need to have some self control. I'm talking about the control that doesn't serve, the control that teaches us not to trust ourselves. That's where that cycle continues. And you end up stuck between two things, trying to follow the rules or feeling like you failed them. And neither one creates peace because the issue isn't that you lack discipline. It's that you've been taught to not trust the voice inside you in the first place. And so, what changes this? Not more effort and not more rules, but a different approach entirely. Instead of asking, how do I control this? You begin asking, what am I actually experiencing right now? That's where we get good information. Instead of overriding yourself, you start noticing. Instead of reacting, you pause. I call that the sacred pause. And slowly, sometimes very slowly, you begin to rebuild something that was never actually gone. It was just unused. Your ability to hear yourself, to respond to your inner knowing, to trust yourself. Now, if this is resonating with you, it's not because something is wrong with you, it's because something is starting to make sense. And for a lot of women, this is the moment where they realize, I can't think my way out of this. This is something that has to be untangled gently, honestly, and with support. And at some point, continuing to do this alone isn't actually strength anymore. It's just staying stuck in the same loop. That's exactly what we're going to be doing in the live session this week. This Saturday at 9 Pacific time, Saturday morning, 9 Pacific time, we'll be looking at how these patterns formed, how to begin shifting them in a way that actually feels sustainable. The details to register for this event are in the description, the episode description. No charge, just an hour of your time. And if you've been trying to fix this on your own, this might be the moment to stop doing that. You don't have to figure it out alone. You didn't lose self-trust. You just learned not to use it. And that means you can learn to use it again. You can learn to come back to it. Because if self-trust isn't something you earn, it's something you return to. And once you see this, you'll start noticing it everywhere. So hopefully I'll see you Saturday. And if you can't make it then I'll catch you next week in next week's episode. If today's episode or any other has resonated with you, I wanted you to know that I offer a free 30-minute call. If you'd like to schedule that, you can find the details for how to do that in the description for this episode. And in the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe.